sure.
How
That
great
was
that was. How
that
great
was
it was. Good
glorious.
morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 612 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I'd like to welcome everybody back. And I do want to say good morning to everybody here on the show. Good morning, Derpy. Good morning, Mike. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. As Derpy said, the Bungles lost last night. It's like it's another victory day for us, like a victory Tuesday. Bungles fall to 0-3. How can you not be happy?
Mm. How about you, Derpy? How you doing?
Got my coffee in, and yeah, the Bungles suck.
Yeah, this Bengals game, you know what? These games, it really is working into our favor. Of course, obviously, these teams are in our division. But, as we said, stacking the wins early is important.
Hmm.
Because you get these wins now, it's where these guys aren't getting these wins. And as we get to that last stretch of those 6 to 8 games, maybe these teams aren't going to be quite as tough as we thought they were going to be in the stretch. Maybe, I mean, it's still going to be division games. It'll
Yeah.
still be, it's difficult, but, if you're facing a Bengals team that has 2 wins at the end of the season, I like my chances a little bit better than if I'm facing the Bengals with 11 wins at the end of the season, 12 wins, 13 wins. So, stacking the wins right now is big because now they have the burden of catching up. They have,
Hmm.
they have to worry about that, where we just have to worry about keep winning the game in front of us. Where, when you're trying to catch up, you always have that in the back of your mind. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, if I win, they have to lose. If they, so there's a lot that goes into that. And, sitting at the top of the division at 3-0 might not sound like a lot, but considering how we and a lot of people expected this season to go with the way that our schedule's set up,
Oh yeah.
we are sitting in the best possible shape we could be sitting in.
Hmm.
I mean, provide if the Ravens or the Browns would have one less win, I mean, I guess that would be best case scenario. But guys, it doesn't get much better than this if you're a Steeler or a Steeler fan, right?
No, God, no.
Nope.
This is we're sitting in prime real estate. We're number one in the division, one of the few undefeated teams left. We're beating the teams we're supposed to. Where you look around, like Cincinnati on paper, in before the season started, everyone thought, okay, they're going to beat Washington. And Washington's not a good team. Young rookie quarterback who outplayed their veteran. They're Joe Burrow, Joe Poole, the greatest quarterback of all time. They made him look pedestrian. So they're not sitting pretty. Baltimore's not sitting pretty. Cleveland's not sitting pretty. Here we are. But we saw this last year. Like our schedule to begin the year was supposed to be one of the easiest, but that
Yeah.
latter half of the year, once teams started playing games, it became the one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. So strength of schedule's a, it's is what it is. It's a magic, it's fairy dust. So it is. You can make anything believable with numbers, but on paper, yeah, you're right. We stack wins now because that latter half is still a brutal schedule.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even, we don't have to wait till that point because in the next four, you
Yeah.
kind of, you take the season and 4 games basically, then you have that one extra. But so the next, say once we beat the Colts or once we play the Colts and hopefully we win, you get to
Mhm.
that next 4 games and you have the Jets in there, you have the Cowboys in there, you have the
Mhm.
Raiders who's come up
Yeah.
on the right side of the stick a couple times against some teams that maybe they shouldn't have won against, and then also the Giants who just beat the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's you got to get the wins when you can get them, and I think that should be a rule anyway, and that's a mindset you should have anyway going into through a season. But guys, it's looking good. It's looking good for us. But one thing that is difficult for me to figure out this year, who's really good and who isn't that good.
Yeah.
The good teams
Yeah.
are losing to the bad teams, but then the bad teams will go and lose to an even worse team. And
Hmm.
then the even worse team will come out and beat the good team.
Carolina.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers, who scored 3 touchdowns, is in first place with 0 losses. It's very confusing
Yeah.
on who is really good, who isn't
Hmm.
good. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Kansas City's probably really good, and Buffalo's pretty damn good. But at the end of the day, there's 30 other teams that you're sitting around thinking, wow, are these guys good or no? The, the
Yeah.
the Denver Broncos were lifeless against us. They come out
Hmm.
and put up a win over
Yeah.
the weekend in a game that you wouldn't have thought they would have won. Atlanta Falcons, I thought that they were lifeless, and then they win a game, and then they lose a game that I thought they were going to win. And it's at this point of the season, it's really hard to tell. So again, stack your wins because you don't know what the
Hmm.
season is going to bring down the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah. Because right now, like in these first 4 games, I think it was Belichick who was saying on like one of the Manning cast or one of the ESPN shows, like these first 4 games, everyone's figuring out what team am I? You know what you have an idea in the preseason, but you don't know until you start playing games. And by week 4, you've figured out if you're good, bad, or mediocre, and you should know what kind of team you are. And I think Pittsburgh, we know what kind of team we are. We've been the same team for the past 5, 7 years. Where play ugly football, bring everyone down to our level, and we're kind of seeing that around the NFL. Teams don't know what they are and they're panicking. Whereas Pittsburgh, we're just steady as we go, and we're just going to keep chugging along. And we're going to play our style of football, and we're going to win the games, lose some, and by the end of the year, we'll be in playoff contention. And a lot of these other teams, I don't think they know how to play that style of football. Play to play to win a game because everyone wants to play their style. Miami, you see them, they just want to be a pass happy team.
And
Your
they
offense
look
isn't playable.
bad.
You got to
This is a
be
team
able to
that's,
adapt, and they're
supposed to
not
do
able
well
to.
this season, and
Yeah,
they look terrible.
yeah. And I think this benefits Pittsburgh. We
We're
were
used to the
born into
ugly.
this. We're playing 90s football and it's working somehow. We're playing Bill Cowher football and it's working. We're not playing, 80 Reed, Bill Belichick football. We're taking it back to the basics and it's kind of working. We're seeing trends where you got to be able to run the ball more now, and we're one of those teams that can do it.
Speaking of the good, the bad, and the ugly, that reminds me of the if you were watching our show right now and looking at the 3 boxes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think we all know how that plays out. So let's go continue on.
I think you're a beautiful person. You have a beautiful soul, right?
No, I
Don't
shut
sell
up.
yourself short on your looks.
Guys, one thing that may affect this team moving forward, of course, something that's trying to uproot the Pittsburgh Steelers is the injury bug. Guys, couple names came up yesterday. I don't know if you've seen this, but as of yesterday, Najee Harris was seen at the facility with a sling on his right arm. That's right, our starting running back has a sling on his right arm as of yesterday. And
It's all
his
Ryan's fault.
partner in crime, Jalen Warren, he is getting an MRI on his knee. This is why you didn't see him much in the game on Sunday. He had a bit of a knee issue. He is going to get an MRI. So as we stand right now, it appears that both of our running back 1 and 2, seem to be a little banged up. We'll find out more. As as I panicked yesterday, Mike said, "Well, maybe he just had the sling on for, for whatever, but maybe he's going to be okay." We'll find this out in about an hour once Coach Tomlin addresses us the weekly injury report. But as I know right now, Najee Harris had a sling on his right arm yesterday, and Jalen Warren was mentioned to be getting an MRI on the right knee. So we do want to throw that out there. Um, you know, compared to how everything else is going this year as far as injuries, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But you know what else wouldn't surprise me? If we could weather the storm, if something would happen, and we could still continue to play decent football and maybe find wins.
Yeah, and right now we're outside of the running back position. We're kind of lucky with injuries because where they're happening, they're at positions of depth. Where we found out at quarterback, hey, we got a guy who we didn't think would be this good. He's that good. Linebackers, we got a lot of linebacker depth. Couple cornerback injuries. Turns out we got corners and safeties that can fly all over. Now I'm starting to get concerned when the running backs are on the injury report. This is where it might get a little tricky. If both of those guys can't play, I don't know what kind of offense we're going to run next because I don't trust Cordella Patterson to be an every down back. He's nice to be in there mixed in, give a guy a break, but he can't be a 20-25 carry kind of guy.
And then of course we dealt with a couple other injuries during the game. Alex Highsmith went out,
Yeah.
Corey Trice went out, Van Jefferson went out. So we'll continue to keep an eye on what's going on with the injury report. But I don't know if there's anybody in the league that has been hit with the injury bug quite like we are this year.
I was actually anticipating. I'm going through the injury report. There's like New York, Detroit has a lot of people. New England do. There's teams that have a lot, but it seems like all of ours are at key positions and key starters.
I do want to say good morning to Jen on the board. Good to see you as always. A few things here, guys. Okay, and then as far as roster moves, the Steelers did sign somebody yesterday. If you aren't up to date on that, the Steelers signed offensive tackle News broken to me by our own Derpy yesterday, former Bronco, a couple other teams he played for. He did play 46 games in his career. He started 14 of these games, and he plays both sides. He's versatile. That's what the Steelers liked about him because of our tackle issues.
Mhm.
So this will certainly benefit us going down the road. I don't know how good Calvin Anderson is. Of course, he's on a team
Yeah.
as of yesterday. So, but again, you know, you got to get players in positions, and we know that Fatanu is not going to be back until possibly January. Yada yada yada, things like this. So we did make a move yesterday. We did bring in offensive tackle Calvin Anderson. Again, 46 games into the league, still a pretty young guy. He started 14 of them and does play both sides. So that's somewhat encouraging,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah, he has a decent chunk of NFL game experience. He has more game experience than our starting center or backup or starting guard and two tackles combined. So that's nice. He has experience. So that's a plus. But like you said, at this time of the year, you're not on a team, not on a practice squad. It kind of raises some red flags, but you can only do what you can do at this point. It is what it is.
You want to hear some guys?
Yeah.
Numbers Tuesday. The Steelers are 3-0, allowing 10 or fewer points per game. This is the first time that this has happened in 50 years, I guess, for the Steelers. And also, it's the second team in Super Bowl era to start 3-0 with 3 or fewer touchdowns, guys. Only one other team has done this in the Super Bowl era, almost 60 years, and it was the Buffalo Bills of 1988. So we are the second team in Super Bowl era to start 3-0 with 3 or fewer touchdowns. And it's the first time the Steelers did this in over 50 years. So, that this team, Mike, as we always say, they always find their way to get into the books.
Yeah.
And it's very rarely standard records and standard type things. It seems to always be what
It's a bizarre thing.
One other time in the whole entire 60 years of the Super Bowl, this has happened. So you see what I'm saying? It's always like this with the Steelers. It's always something every year.
You know what? I'll take it though. It's going to work in our. I have a feeling it's going to work in our favor this year because our defense is on a path of some of the better defenses in NFL history. So I'll take it.
Certainly looking good. I mean, like I always say, Mike, the Ravens and if anything should be encouraging should be the two Ravens Super Bowls and the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, because those are the kind of teams that this Pittsburgh Steelers team generally is. It's defense, run the ball. Of course, we had a 20-year period where, you had a NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. But guess what? We're back to where we don't have that again. So you know what? I guess it's back to going then, starting what's a good word for this style of play, Mike? Just old school.
Old school, yeah, it's old school football, but it's still more passing than what we saw in the 80s.
And it's working.
It's working. And you know what? I would love to see this offense be able to go out there, score with 35, 40 points a game. But as long as we're winning, I don't care how we win. Do you want a quarterback going out there throwing the ball 45 times a game, getting multiple interceptions, and you're putting up a lot of points and losing, or boring, frustrating
Mike, are we
football
capable
and
of coming back? Is this team capable of coming back? Say we're down 13 points somewhere in the third quarter. Is this team capable of coming back and winning a football game?
Right now, I want to say no. But, we had that quick strike for a touchdown this past week. That play came out of nowhere. We'd have to hit stuff like that. If we had a true number 2 receiver opposite Pickens, I'd say, yeah. It's the way Fields is becoming more confident back there. I like the way he's attacking the middle of the field. And he can hit that deep ball. Yeah, I would say if we had a legit number 2 receiver, and we don't. So right now I'm going to say no.
Let me put it to you this way. Let me play a little devil's advocate with you.
Yeah.
In the 3 games played so far, Calvin Austin has 6 catches, 108 yards, and 1 touchdown. With that in mind, in 3 games so far, Brandon Ayuk has only 11 catches. He has 11 catches, 119 yards, which is only 11 more yards than Calvin Austin, and 0 touchdowns. With a Brock Purdy who seems to be pretty good out on the West Coast, getting the ball to these guys. So for around $28 million less than what we could have paid out to Brandon Ayuk. Again, I'm not saying that Calvin Austin is a Brandon Ayuk, because he's not as so far.
Yeah.
But as we speak, after 3 games, Brandon Ayuk, 11 catches, 119 yards, 0 touchdowns. Calvin Austin, the third, 6 catches, 108 yards, 1 touchdown. That's he has a larger average per catch.
Mm-hmm.
He has more touchdowns. He has only 11 less yards than Brandon Ayuk. So again, for right around $28 million, saving that money, Mike, we basically got the same results that what Brandon Ayuk is doing right now.
Right
on
now,
a team that has an offense that between the quarterback, these guys click before. It isn't like they're in a situation where we're in. We don't know what the hell we have from week to week.
Yeah.
So
and Ayuk's numbers are down without Kittle, without McCaffrey there, without Debo there. So we'll that's going to be something to keep an eye on, see how he produces, who's going to outproduce who at the end of the year. I hope Austin does, but I think it might be
even if Ayuk does,
but even if he develops,
I'm okay with that. But
yeah, if Austin develops into a guy that can get you 800 yards a year and 4 or 5 touchdowns, I will take that. That's a good number 2 to have. That's a damn good number 2 to have.
And Mike, this might be the kind of thing that somebody like Calvin Austin III needed. Instead of coming off the bench as a third or a fourth wide receiver, he's being thrown into the situation where he's being forced to perform. So I think we're going to see what Calvin Austin is all about. I'll continue to keep an eye on him because, again, with the, of course, we should be getting Roman Wilson back this week. We'll see about that. But you continue to watch Calvin Austin and say, does this dude have potential to be that number 2 guy? Because Mike, if he could perform and step up, and that solves a lot of problems for this team.
Be huge. And then
his size, leaves something to be desired, but still, you know what? That never stopped Antonio Brown.
No. And this guy, we saw he's not afraid to go across the middle. He's quick. Not only fast, but he's quick. And I think the quickness helps him more than the speed, getting open, getting that separation early in his routes. And if he can, refine his route running, and it seems like he's been working on it this year. He's getting open in good spots. The sky could be the limit for this kid. Like you said, Baltimore, they were chomping at the bit to get this guy, to add him to their offense, to add a weapon. We were able to,
Mike, do you remember draft night? Night? I didn't even hear it. You came to me and you said, dude, the Baltimore Ravens are pissed off. Did you see that guy we just picked, that Calvin Austin out of Memphis or whatever? And I was like, I think so. You said they heard outside of the war room at the draft when the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Calvin Austin III, the Ravens were pissed. They were out there. They were pissed off. They wanted that guy. And we were able to go in front and snatch him because they knew the speed. They knew his potential. And look what all this guy's doing, Mike. He is returning kicks. He's returning punts. He's so
contributing all over. And like the Steelers have a way of finding receivers later in the draft and developing them. Sometimes it make it take a little bit longer, but we get these guys who weren't first-round picks, but are able to produce close to or even exceed first-round expectations. So he could be another success story. He was hampered with that injury his first year. Last year, I think all the receivers in the past couple of years with the Matt Kennett offense were all hindered. Now we're starting to see what this kid can actually do. When he's getting some good routes, he's getting actual plays that are designed to get everyone open. And we're seeing what his speed can add to this team. We saw glimpses of it when Kenny had that beautiful deep pass to him for a touchdown. Was it against the Raiders last year, I believe it was, that opened up that game? This kid has potential. And the way Fields is playing out right now, the accuracy, the way Youth is drawing coverage, the way George is drawing coverage, this should be prime time for CA3.
And all season long, excuse me, his rookie year where he was out all year with that ankle. Remember how much we just talked. I can't wait to get Calvin Austin back. I can't wait to see this kid play. So, maybe he gets into his zone here and he, is really able to become that guy. That would be fantastic. And again, you get the same results for saving $28 million. I'll take that any day.
Yeah, me too.
So.
And he's like a guy you have to hit on because we're paying all that money to the defense.
Right.
This is a guy you have to get in that can produce for the least amount of money possible, get the maximum amount of production in. We might be at a tipping point with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to clarify something.
Yeah,
yes.
Please.
I was the first to point out that he would have a breakout season.
You did. Derby tends to be ahead of the trend on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, Jen, I knew George went down and worked with the route running coach. I forgot Austin went. You're correct. Good. Good remembrance. Is that a
Yes.
word?
Yeah. I don't know if it
Okay.
was used correctly,
I
but
don't know if
it's
I
a
used
word.
it correctly, but but yeah, because I remember now that Austin was down there working with that coach with Deontay
Yeah.
Johnson and Calvin and George.
Guys, you might have noticed that the game went a little, it felt like it went really fast the other day. It did go fast. Get this, guys. The Steelers game on Sunday, it was 2 hours and 41 minutes, which is generally quick for a football game. That is the shortest game for the Steelers since 2007 Mud Bowl against the Miami Dolphins. You guys might remember the 3-0
Yeah.
win
I
where the
remember the Mud Bowl.
Yeah.
punt gets stuck right in the ground. It doesn't bounce, it doesn't roll, it doesn't do anything. That game, guys, was in fact 2 hours and 35 minutes. And that is this was the shortest game since then, coming in at a 2 hour 41 minutes, just 6 minutes longer than the
Uh,
Mud Bowl, guys.
this was like perfect. It was the perfect football game for that 2 hours and how many minutes?
2 hours and 41 minutes.
Oh, anything that's perfect. Perfect length for a football game.
Especially when you're winning, you want the time to go a lot faster.
Oh yeah.
I could take
If
a
you're like
half-hour
sitting,
football game
San
before
Diego
about.
fans were like, this game needs to go on for a whole hell of a lot longer. We
Yeah.
need to get the ball back. But no, that's why I love running football teams, man. Clock is always moving.
In this
And
game,
when
Mike, the you mentioned earlier in the show about the defense is really running the show. The offense just basically has to keep up, and
Mhm.
the defense guys, as we talked a little bit yesterday, the second half, the Chargers, this offense, that I got to be honest, it looked pretty good, and I could expect they are probably going to be a pretty good team with the offensive line that they've built, the two running backs that they have. Of course, their starting quarterback has a little bit of an injury now, but the defense as well, guys. This offense for the Chargers over the weekend, second half, 15 plays they ran. They had one first down, 0 points, of course, and -5 yards. That's got to be one of the most dominating half. And again, we're the Steelers. We've been on the other part of this. We've been on the other
Right.
side of this where we struggled to get offense going in a half. But guys, think of that. A whole entire half, an offense with those two running backs in that line managed -5 yards in a whole half of football. What does that say
that
about this defense and when they come to play, how they could play?
if they if they can play like this game in, game out, I there's not many offenses I fear right now. I
Right.
like Kansas City, you would normally say, yeah, I fear them, but you're watching the way they're playing. Like
I
Mahomes
still
doesn't look like
always
himself. They don't scare me. And I'd be more afraid of the Carolina
they're the
Panthers
only
right now.
the Chiefs are about the only team that scare me because you just they have so many ways they could find ways to win. And that's what
Yeah,
scares me. It's not going to be, you're just going to generally be facing Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball downfield. It could be Patrick Mahomes doing, a shuffle pass, and
yeah,
you just don't know what they're going to bring. And that scares me. But they're like you said, I mean, there aren't many teams at this moment. But, if we go on a losing streak, this whole conversation could change really fast.
yeah,
But right now, I don't want to play the Chiefs. They find ways to win, and if you could
yeah,
have another team play them and beat them, and maybe we get the other
yeah,
team, I would be a little bit more comfortable with that. However, we get into the playoffs and we have to face the Chiefs. I'm fine with it anyway because we're in and we have that chance. But yeah, this defense is really showing, guys. 26 points they've given up after 3 games. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's about what 8.3 points a game.
yeah. It's they're a, it's scary how good they are.
Another interesting comparison of numbers. You guys want to check out another interesting comparison of
Yeah.
numbers? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, do the Bears probably hate the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh
These
yeah.
are the numbers between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams, their new quarterback. All right, so just let me get on these lists here. The ages of the guys: Fields 25, Williams 22. Fields is still a pretty young guy, all things considered. Justin Fields is 3-0. Caleb Williams is 1-2. Total touchdowns between passes and runs: Justin Fields 3, Caleb Williams 2. Turnovers to this point: Justin Fields 1, Caleb Williams 5. Pass rating: Justin Fields 95.3, Caleb Williams 65.3. And finally, completion percentage: Justin Fields 73.3, Caleb Williams 59.3.
Ooh,
0.3. Again, he's a rookie, of course. You got to
yeah.
put that in consideration. But still, you got to again, the Bears, they just had to be pulling their hair out with this team. You seen over the weekend that the Bears didn't look too fantastic. Again, there was some turnover issues with these
Oh,
guys.
The
But if we
Bears
could
are the
just
Bears.
boy, it just feels like we're raping them over and over again. You kind of feel bad for this team.
right? Like they had like last week, Williams 52 passes, the week before 37. That is not a recipe for success for a rookie quarterback.
No.
And like we said, jokingly said yesterday, when Fields is done here, we'll get Caleb Williams and develop him into a quarterback on the cheap.
So, Mike, maybe the problem was, in fact, the Bears, and it wasn't Justin
It might,
Wilson. And we might have just got, again, for barely, pennies here,
yeah,
maybe the
or
quarterback of the
literally,
future.
yeah. You know what? I'll take it. You demoralize him to where he's ready to go to another team. We get him, we refine him, and we're good to go. Yeah, God, their offensive line. They went out, they added all the shiny new toys. They got their new quarterback, got some running backs. We got all these new wide receivers. They have the worst interior offensive line in the league. You're just watching teams run up the middle and just destroy plays in the quarterback. It is they don't know how to build a team. You it's mind-boggling and it's
Well, I think
funny. And
historically you
Justin
can
Fields
see
is
that.
probably like, I'm so glad I'm gone.
They had one good team in 60 years. I mean, yeah, it's evident
Yeah.
who the good franchises are and who aren't. I mean, sometimes it doesn't really come down to football. It comes down to the way you run the business and the way you
Mm-hmm.
run the team. And
Yeah.
they just fall in that category. They're just not that good of a franchise.
Yeah.
They're one of the oldest, one of the they're kind of popular in their own way,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not ran that well. And you can see it. There's the result is the results.
And it's great too. And like Jen said, Chase Claypool for Joey Porter Jr. It's like the gifts keep on giving.
Yes. The Bears are the gift that keeps on giving. We have the cornerback of our future now. We have the quarterback of our future now. And it seems like all we had to give up was basically Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool and a conditional draft pick.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thanks, Bears fans.
Yeah, exactly. Because they were all excited when they found out they were getting Chase Claypool.
I know.
I was just scrolling through Twitter and there was like a couple reaction videos from that time of like, we got Chase Claypool. This is great. No,
Before we
it
do
was
move
not.
on, Derpy wanted to kind of give his review of the game from over the weekend. So let's allow him to do that because, of course, Mondays he's not on the show. I want to allow him the chance to do that, Mike. So Derpy, go ahead and what's your take on the game from Sunday?
I was just. Can you give the rundown? Basically, just run down each category.
Oh, you want to grade the team?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do the grades? Yeah.
Oh, you want to do the grades? Okay.
Derpy, what's the quarterbacks? What do you give the quarterbacks?
A minus.
All right. What about running backs?
B minus.
Okay. How about the tight ends, Derpy? What do you grade for the tight ends?
B.
Okay.
Keep my
Mike,
mouth
you
shut.
already had your picks.
I know. I'm going to keep my mouth shut to the end. I'm sorry.
Wide receivers, Derpy.
A plus.
Okay. How about offensive line?
B minus.
Okay. Let's hop
Actually,
over.
no. Take that back. A
Mike,
minus.
stop making faces. You're
I'm
really.
sorry.
It's screwing him up the way
I'm
he's.
reacting to Derpy. I'm sorry.
Don't react.
A minus.
It's not a reaction video. The defensive line.
A plus.
Linebackers.
A plus.
Secondary.
Solid B.
Special teams.
Solid B.
Coaching. Mike's acting like you're giving these guys F's.
Coaching
Coaching.
Derpy.
I'll give him a C plus because he really didn't do much.
Okay. And finally, overall, what do you grade the Steelers from their game on Sunday?
A minus.
All right. That's a pretty good report card, Mike. I don't know what you're freaking out about.
That's, he was going to get the offensive line like a B minus at first.
That's all right.
What you
It's not
special
the
teams a B?
it's not the Adolf Mahler show. Let him have his picks. What are you doing?
No. I just Derby is a very strict teacher. He's like that teacher you had in high school or the professor you had in college. You were afraid to turn in your work because you
Yeah.
put your heart and soul into it. And Derby's like,
Yeah. Derpy's that guy.
I guess.
I
I
like
guess
that.
this is adequate.
I like that.
I guess you give up 160 yards passing. I guess that's okay.
Derby's a hard pill to swallow.
Derby's a rough one today, man.
No, that was
But
good.
it was
I'm
good,
glad.
Derby.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
I won A's and A pluses for everything. So,
A
it's
little bit of
fair.
other some information here, guys, to put out. This is as I mentioned yesterday, the two teams that play on the North Shore, they play their home games there. They're both undefeated at this point. The Steelers are 3-0, the Pitt Panthers are 4-0. Mike, let me include you into this.
Ooh.
Mike, the Pitt Panthers being 4-0, the Penn State Nittany Lions being 3-0, the Steelers being 3-0. The last time that this particular set of numbers had happened,
Mhm.
1982,
Ooh,
when those three
Ooh.
teams were at this point in the season and had none of them had a loss yet. 1982 was the last time. So kind of cool, and some more interesting Steeler numbers. And one other one, the between the Pitt Panthers, the Steelers, and the Pitt volleyball team, which is number one in the land, the women's volleyball Pitt volleyball team. Between the three, they are 16-0 at this time. So it's a good time to be a Pittsburgh sports fan. Got a lot of good things going. Hey, we only have 6 days of the Pittsburgh Pirates left, guys. How much better can it be?
and the Steelers are playing well. We're getting ready for another season. The Penguins around the corner too. It's a great time to be a fan in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Pirates got three. You know what? I'll get into those guys in a minute. I'm not even in the mood yet. But we do, guys. Pretty soon, we're going to get into our picks for the week. We do have a clear-cut winner. One of you guys did win. I'm going to say Yins didn't do too amazing.
I know my
No.
picks were bad.
A lot of off picks this week, guys. Let me give you some news from around the NFL, though. The Jacksonville Jaguars, another team, as Jen said on the board earlier, the Bengals shit the bed last night. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I would have liked to get a little help from them by beating Buffalo last night. Of course, that didn't happen, but it just might have been our fault.
Really?
The Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-9 since they messed with the
Mhm.
terrible towel last season. I don't remember if the guy was rubbing his ass with it or his shoes or whatever it was, but they did mess with the terrible towel. And since then, that team that was looking pretty promising with their young quarterback at the time has been 3-9 since that game. So do what you want with that, people.
You don't mess with the terrible towels. When will teams learn
Exactly.
this?
It happens over and over and over, and teams just don't learn. I'll take it, but come on. How stupid can you be?
Exactly. I love it though. I love it. We may have lost the game, but we won the war.
That's right. Also from last night in that Bills game, Central Catholic zone, Pittsburgh University zone, Buffalo Bills starting safety, DeMar Hamlin got his first interception as a starting safety last night. So,
Ooh.
of course, he's lucky to be alive. This guy, first interception straight from Pittsburgh. I will take it. Congratulations, Mr. Hamlin. And keep doing what you do, brother. Looking good out there.
Yeah. And I saw someone on Twitter is like, Trevor Lawrence is the first man to throw an interception to a dead man. I was like, oh my God.
I like that. And finally, from around the NFL, we all know that Chris Boswell did attempt a 62-yard kick the other night. But last night, over the weekend, Brandon Aubrey in the game against the Baltimore Ravens, Dallas's kicker, Brandon Aubrey, makes a 65-yard field goal, just 1 yard short of the NFL record.
That is nuts. Drug test these kickers. My
Right.
goodness, man. What are they doing? These scrawny little guys just kicking this ball across the field.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mike, let's I'm just gonna run through these divisions real quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna and then after that, we're gonna blow through the few other sports things that we have, and then we're gonna wrap up. by doing the picks. Let's do this, go through the schedule real quick, see how things look, how the standings look. And just give me a moment to get in here.
Get
All right,
mine
so
back up too. I'm a little lost.
I'm gonna give the scores through the picks. Let me just do the standings right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Give us an
Yeah.
idea where we're looking at, because I don't want to have to do the scores twice.
Exactly. Makes
All right,
sense.
so in our division, of course, the Steelers are 3-0, tied in second place. The Ravens and the Browns 1-2, and the Bengals, who have given up 80 points compared to
The
the
basement.
26 that the Steelers have given up. The Bengals, they sit in the basement with an 0-3 record. That is our AFC North at the moment. The AFC East, Buffalo sits atop with a 3-0 record. The New York Jets 2-1, and the Patriots and the Dolphins both sit at 1-2.
Who would have
The
thought the Dolphins would be in the basement?
Well, I did, because I don't think they're that good. I just I don't know. They got good players, but they're not
They're not a good team.
they're not a real
They're
good
not built
team.
well.
The Chiefs, guys in the AFC West, of course, they're up top with a 3-0 record. The Chargers sit with a 2-1 record. Broncos and Raiders both 1-2. In the AFC South, the Texans lead the way after taking a loss this weekend. They lose, or their record is 2-1. The Colts are an opponent for this coming Sunday at 1 o'clock in Indianapolis. They have a 1-2 record. The Titans and the Jags both 0-3.
Oof.
Let's jump over to the NFC, guys. Is it any surprise that the Washington Commanders are sitting in first place in the NFC East?
Well, that's a shocker.
It is a shocker. Tied with the Eagles, who are 2-1, both of those squads 2-1. However, the Cowboys and the Giants sit at the bottom with a 1-2 record.
Did not see
The NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings, with a lot of talk about the Lions and the Packers over the offseason, and the Bears
Ryan
even.
froze for a minute.
All the talk we had
He's
about
gonna come back in. His audio is going to catch up and be wicked crazy.
And the Lions, we've talked about them all off season being possibly the top dog in the NFC North. Between them, the Packers, and even the Bears with the draft pick, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings sit up top that division with a 3-0 record. The Lions, Packers 2-1, the Bears 1-2.
I thought the Vikings were going to be terrible this year, but who would have thought?
Yeah. You just they had a lot of changing. You didn't know if it was going to be for the better, for the worse, or what. Guys, let's go to the NFC West. The Seattle Seahawks still undefeated. They are one of the 5 undefeated teams in the NFL left. The Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Rams, and the 49ers all tied with a 1-2 record. And finally, in the NFC South, the Saints and the Buccaneers sit at top with a 2-1 record each. In the bottom dwellers are the Falcons and the Panthers. They both are sitting there with a 1-2 record in the NFC South. So that is the way that the divisions break down after 3 weeks of NFL football. It's going to change. Some things will, some things won't, but we're certainly going to keep an eye on it every week.
It's a crazy start to the season.
Very crazy
Jacksonville
start.
0-3. Jacksonville, Cincinnati being this bad, Cowboys being this bad, the Saints being this good.
I think once you get out of this, some teams got really, really tough schedule. Some of these teams seem to have the schedule that we have down the road at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of what I'm getting out of this. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. We get them in 2 weeks. We're going to learn a lot about them. But again, it's very early, guys. Let's go over these scores or over the games real quick and the picks because I just want to put football together, and then we'll go over these other few things.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first game was on Thursday. The Jets, they won that football game on Thursday night. I gotta find my. The Jets won that 24-3 over the Patriots. I had these picks somewhere. Oh, there they go. Okay.
Come on, Ryan.
You know what? We ended up
man.
doing the picks after that, I think. So for whatever reason, that is not on my list for the first game. So let me go on. Where the hell did that go?
I don't know.
Oh, it's upside down. That sounded a lot. Listen, listen. There's about 8 different weeks worth of picks on one sheet of paper, and they're going in all different directions. And so, yeah.
I've seen your notes, so I can visualize this.
I don't even know. Where's my paper at?
Mike is
Ryan
frozen
again.
Hmm? I think somebody took my paper.
Oh no.
Well, I tell you what, let's move on to
Okay.
what we're going to talk about. And I will come back to that because I'm going to continue to
All right.
search for my paper.
Okay, yeah, let's move on.
All right. So, Mike, also, I want to talk about the quarterback at Pitt real quick, Eli
Yeah.
Holstein. He is, again, one more time for the fourth consecutive week, the ACC Rookie of the Week. Mike, he did wrap that up again. And he is also this week's #1 transfer of the week at quarterback in college football. And he is now also showing up on the lists of possible Heisman watch lists as well, being as high as 6 on one of the lists at this point in the season. I'll take it.
Yeah, not bad for a freshman.
Not bad at all for a freshman. Mike, usually Mike goes on and on and on, but now that I'm trying to find something, his comments are nice and short. So I'm no surprise here. No surprise.
You know what? You don't want to talk right now, so I don't want to talk. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I want to talk. I'm looking for something.
It pains me as a Penn State fan to say how well Holstein's playing. It's nice to see. I like watching good football. I just wish he was on another team other than Pitt. But my God, what he's doing, it's reminding you of Kenny's last season at Pitt.
And that was after 23 years of playing there. The guy had that kind of
having
season.
Jordan Addison and having Izzy Abanikanda and having a really good defense. This guy, he has weapons, but he doesn't have those type of weapons around him yet. Just imagine you keep him here for the next 3 years. You hit that portal, get some guys that are established that are looking to play with a good young quarterback. They can build a nice team. They should be able to contend with this guy for the ACC title this year, next year, and the year after, depending on if he's going to come out of the draft early or not. But build around this kid, man.
I'm honestly at a loss for words where this sheet went. I was literally messing.
You're
with it
literally just looking at it too.
Yeah. Mike, also they did end up getting 37 top 25 votes after this past week. So I think if Pitt continues to win, they'll be off this week. They start the conference play next week against North Carolina, and they got Cal after that. And I wasn't really impressed with Cal, but if we keep winning and keep putting up good numbers, hopefully we'll continue to work in that direction. But 37.
I think what you knock off a couple conference ones that they're going to move up into the standings. It's hard right now for a team that like people didn't think a lot of them. Kind of the competition they're playing against. I think the voters are holding like the YSU against them too much. Like they should have got some votes out of definitely after the WVU
West
game.
Virginia and Cincinnati.
Yeah, because people were talking of West Virginia
and the games that weren't those two. They managed to put up 55 to 73 points in games that wasn't. So I mean,
they're on the doorstep. I think you win your first 2 games in the ACC. A couple teams are going to get knocked off in the 25. They're going to pop up. They're going to hop up in there. Ryan's looking for his notes. Derpy.
Yes.
Real quick, back to the Steelers. What's your impression of Zach Frazier right now?
I was wrong. He's a goat.
3 games in, you're ready to. He does look like he's going to fit. Like we said on the show yesterday, he's going to fit into that legacy that the Steelers have at center. DeMarty Dawson, Mike Webster, Marquise Pouncey. He's in that group. Pouncey already said he's the guy. He's the anchor of that line. He was saying that on Ben's podcast. So that's high praise.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought Ben talked to Frazier.
They were saying this how impressive he is. I think it was Pouncey who was at the game talking to Frazier. And the O-line coach saying how great he is at everything. And I was bemoaning the fact that the past couple drafts we missed out on Kyle Lindbaum. We missed out on Creed Humphreys. I think now we got our guy. And I think he's gonna after this year, he's gonna be mentioned in the conversations with those guys as one of the best centers in the league. And my God, I don't know if anyone saw on Twitter Brian Baldinger, he breaks down a lot of game film for the NFL Network, and he's going on and on about Zach Frazier in his play yesterday and just how he's just manhandling people. And
we had it here first when we were high on Frazier. We had it here first.
Yeah, because we all started on God, I forget who the #1 center was coming out of the draft. We were all wanting that guy, But then as the season kept going on and the off season kept going on, he kept reading more and watching more of Zach Frazier. We were banging the drums. We were one of the first early ones on, outside of WVU fans who wanted him here regardless.
Right.
You take that with a grain of salt, because I want every Penn State guy who's good here in Pittsburgh. It's probably like Ryan wants every Pitt player who's good here in Steelers. So take it with a grain of salt. But no, this kid's amazing. Hopefully we get Sam Alu back and working with. Then you have your interior line of Sam Alu, Frazier, Daniels. Look out. It's going to open up that run game even more.
All right, I found it. I found it. I found it, guys.
You found
You
it?
found
All
it.
right.
I
All
did.
right.
Come on, Ryan. Food's on the line.
Hey, food is on the line, of course.
Well, that's why
This-
Derpy shows up. It's for food.
This is for Permani Brothers at the end of the year. Right now, we do have a tie. We're in an even draw between Mike and Derpy. After the first 2 weeks, Mike had won week 1, Derpy had won week 2. This is going to decide who moves ahead in the race. Guys, let's start the one more time. We'll give us a try. The Patriots and Jets on Thursday night. The Jets won that. Both you guys picked that team.
All right.
The second game, the Giants at the Browns on Sunday afternoon. You guys both picked the Browns and the Giants won. Following game, the Eagles at the Saints. You guys both picked the Saints and the Eagles won. Then it was the Texans at the Vikings. You guys both picked the Texans and the Vikings won.
It's not looking good, Derpy.
No.
The Broncos and the Buccaneers. You guys both picked the Buccaneers, of course.
It made
Denver won.
sense. All
It
of
made
our picks have
sense.
made sense.
This one here, both you guys got the Packers win over the Titans.
Yeah.
However, you both picked the Bears to beat the Colts, and the Colts won that game.
I don't know how the Colts won that game. Both quarterbacks were bad.
I hope they continue to be bad
Oh, yeah, me too.
because it's the old Bears quarterback going against the Colts this week. Last week it was the new Bears
Yeah.
quarterback. So I'd like
Yeah.
to see better results because
Yep.
they were able to win, and I think, have a little bit better team than Chicago. But let me move on. The next game was the Dolphins at the Seahawks. You guys both picked the Seahawks and won. The Panthers at the Raiders. You guys both picked the Raiders, and the Panthers won. You figured the Raiders just beat the Ravens, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
What's going
And the
on?
Panthers look lost, and you don't think Andy Dalton has anything left in the tank.
Right. The Red Rocket, though, that was the big difference. They said Bryce Young didn't have the
Young.
weapons, but the Red Rocket come out and threw for a lot of yards in this past game.
Deontay Johnson, 8 catches, 122 and a touchdown. He got weapons. Thielen had a good game.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't hold my breath on the Deontay, but it certainly did a lot better
Yeah,
than the starter. Guys, the next game was the 49ers at the Rams. You guys both picked the 49ers and the Rams won.
made sense.
How?
It made sense.
The Lions at the Cardinals are the next game. Derpy picked the Lions, and Mike, you picked the Cardinals for some reason. Derpy, you did get that win.
I only lost by 7 points in that game. The Cardinals came off a great performance.
You could have lost by
the week
1
before.
point. You still get the loss.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't like a blowout. It was
Oh,
a
it was
close
no.
game. It was a close game
I would have expected the Lions to be,
to blow them out. Yeah,
I don't know. The Cardinals are kind of weird this year, too.
yeah.
The Ravens at the Cowboys. Both of you picked the Ravens. Picked the winner on that one. The Falcons and Chiefs. You guys both picked the Chiefs. You both won there. Last night, the Jags at the Bills. You guys both picked the Bills. The second Monday night game, the Commanders at the Bengals. Mike, you picked the Bengals. Derpy, you picked the Commanders. And both of you picked the Chargers, which the Steelers won. Derpy, you won this week 8-6.
I would like to thank the Academy.
And you are, in fact, ahead 2-1. 2-1, guys. So keep that in mind moving forward. We'll be doing picks on Thursday for this week's game coming up. And we have the Indianapolis Colts coming in with a 1-2 record against the undefeated. Just say that one. Can I say that one more time? The undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like it. I like a combined 12 points. I think I lost by. That's some bull crap. like these games were close too, man. Like we said, all the ones that we lost together, they made sense. Our picks made perfect sense for why we chose who should win those games, and this league is
Well,
upside
your
down right
picks
now.
makes perfect sense of why you're in second place.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Like, who thought the Panthers would come out and do what they did? Who thought the Texans would lay an egg like that? You know,
Hey, the football gods are on our side this year. That's all I care about.
they are,
Exactly.
especially after we kneeled down inside the 4-yard line.
Guys, let's
Karma
move
and the
on.
football gods.
The Buccos, they do, as I mentioned earlier, they have 6 games left, 3 at home against the first place Milwaukee Brewers, who comes to town with a 89-67 record. That game 1 of 3 is tonight at 6:40. And then they go off to the Bronx to finish up the season against the Yankees. You will see Paul Skeens one more time in that weekend series to finish up the year. Just 6 games left. The Pirates have been eliminated from playoff contention, but still a couple interesting games in the works if you want to check them out. Also, the Pittsburgh Penguins back at it tonight in preseason. They get to run it back against the Buffalo Sabres, who they took a loss to the other night. The Sabres come to town to play the Penguins with a 2-0 record. The Pens 0-1. That game is tonight, preseason hockey. Mike, you want to go and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumyinzers.com. Go check it out, especially if you're new. Like I say, all of our social links are over there. We got the merch store over there, and yeah, the blog's over there. But remember, it is on hiatus until writer's block goes away. I'm having trouble putting pen to paper. But yes, check out the2dumyinzers.com.
Over to you, Derpy.
And if you're new to the Two Dumb Yinzers show, be sure to subscribe below and pound that like button.
I like it. Good job. See, this is why you're getting extra responsibilities. Look how good that was.
Yeah, maybe Derpy should take over the blog.
No.
Oh,
Call it Derpy Thoughts.
Derpy thoughts. I've been working on your shirt too. I sent some instructions to work on your shirt a little bit more, Derpy, this morning. So keep an eye on that as well. New stuff should be coming up on the store very soon. Guys, you ready for the Colts trivia of the day?
Yes.
Trivia.
Because of course this is who the Steelers play this week. We're going to do trivia on the Colts all week. And the second trivia of the week sounds a little bit like this. Mike, Derpy, on the board, people at home, here we go. How many Super Bowls have the Colts won? It could be either Baltimore or Indianapolis. Super Bowl era. How many Super Bowls have the Colts won, guys? Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. We hope you continue to check us out. We appreciate you all. We really do. All right, Mike, Derpy, here we go. How many Super Bowls have the Colts won? Either Baltimore or Indianapolis. No tricks to this. I just want to know in the Super Bowl era, how many Super Bowls the guys with the horseshoe on their head won. Mike, I'm going to start with you.
I'm gonna go with 2.
2.
One in Baltimore, one in Indy.
You don't want to give any information away. Hold on.
I was just doing my logic. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't do it because Derpy might use your logic as well.
That's true. I forget he likes to cheat on the exam.
Well, he has a strategy.
He does. He wants to hear what I said.
Hey, I like it. I like it because he gets the wins.
I'm gonna have Derpy start placing my
Derpy's
bets
stacking
for
wins
me.
early.
Derpy can place my bets for me because all mine lose. Just place the opposite Derpy and we split the winnings 50-50.
All right, as much as we love to sit around and listen to your losings all morning, let's go to Derpy next.
That's gonna be a whole other podcast.
Derpy, how many Super Bowls have the Colts won? No tricks to this. It's Baltimore or Indianapolis. The guys with the horseshoes. How many Super Bowls have they won in the Super Bowl era? Mike says 2.
Well, I lived through one of them, so I'm just gonna go with 2.
Just go with 2. So you're gonna pick the same thing. All right, got you locked in. Guys, how many Super Bowls have the Colts won between Baltimore and Indianapolis? No tricks to it, just from Super Bowl 1 to now. The guys with the horseshoes on their heads, both Mike and Derpy says 2. 2 Super Bowls won. The answer, guys, is 2. They won in 1971, and it was like Super Bowl 4, I think. And then 2007, of course, the win over Chicago.
I couldn't remember if they won 2 down in Baltimore. I knew the one for sure. And
They lost some in Baltimore as well. They lost Super Bowl
yeah,
3 to the Jets. I
yep,
think maybe one other one through the 70s.
yeah.
But the Colts did win 2 Super Bowls. So there you go, guys. Great job, as always. Anything before we start getting ready to wrap things up, Mike?
I got some injury news for the Steelers.
Yes, please. I know that we're overlapping with Tomlin press conference. So if you have any
Yeah,
information, I would love to hear it.
yeah. Michael Pruitt out, Trice out with a hamstring, Highsmith out with a groin. Participation be our guide. Jalen Warren, Isaac Sayamala. So they're going to see how they respond to their injuries.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Jalen Warren is out.
he's participation will be our guide. They're going to see
I see.
how the
So
knee.
Najee Harris isn't even on the list.
He's not on the list from
Okay.
what I saw so far in the press conference.
So a couple positives I take away from that is this: Najee Harris is not on that list, which is a good thing. Of course, he had a sling on his arm yesterday. And the other thing that I find as a positive from this is with Alex Highsmith out, we're going to see more of our boy Nick Herbig on his side. So I like that.
Yeah. And I think it's be more Peyton Wilson on the inside, taking that inside spot where they were using Herbig on some of those blitz packages. Looked like his snaps increased, Peyton Wilson.
So I don't think we lost a lot by this. I mean, I'd like to see Trice out there. I think he brings a lot to the secondary.
Yeah.
But the other things, I mean, there's not much we can do. I mean, these guys are out, they're out. So that's where we are with the injuries as we speak. Mike got it straight from the horse's mouth, Mike Tomlin's press conference. What about you, Derpy? Anything before we get ready to take off?
I would like to thank the Academy for my win today very much. And Mike is very bald and a loser.
Wow.
All right. Hey, to the victor go the spoils. I like it, Derpy.
Wow.
Because I've heard Mike say some pretty nasty things to you on the air too. So I gotta be honest.
Just because I said he looks like a thumb with a face?
Yes, because he's
you make fun of my hair, I'm gonna fire back anyway. All right. I know
how. My thing is this. I seen this meme the other day, and I thought it was hilarious. So give me a moment to pull it up because I think it's funny, and you'll see why just in a second.
Oh God.
It has to do with us and our age and where we are in life. And all right, here it is. Ready, guys? This is a meme that I found. Pro tip for millennials. Pro tip for millennials is Generation X, which where Mike and I fall. As Generation X starts to pass away, millennials resist the urge to watch unlabeled VHS tapes.
What?
Yeah. Like they're like, yeah.
If you don't get
millennials,
if you don't get it, you'll learn.
Yeah. Younger millennials,
and you'll be traumatized forever.
Yeah. Older millennials, that Zennials in that era, they know, we know. Yeah. Gen X know. The younger millennials, alphas, and whatever's going on now.
I'll explain it to you more tomorrow, Derpy, when we have more time. I'll spell it out to you.
And Jen has a good question. Well, Herbig, if he plays more, will he be less effective because teams will game plan for him now? I think we saw that towards the end of the game, they kept running towards that side when they would run.
I think yes and no.
But we were like funneling the defense to that side. So I think they're kind of helping him that way because he's not the best at the run stuffing right now.
I think it's yes and no. Because again, he's effective. But again, you change your whole game plan around for Nick Herbig. When you have a defense that houses TJ Watt, that houses Cam Hayward, that houses Minkah Fitzpatrick, amongst many other, Patrick Queen, you really don't. I don't think you start changing your game plan around for Nick Herbig, who's stepping in for a starter. I think maybe eventually, a couple games down the road, let's just say Highsmith has a extended period of time where he's not playing, and Nick Herbig continues to yield these results week after week. Then I think teams start playing and making some significant adjustments.
Yeah,
but I'm going to be honest. If it goes this way this week, guys, as it should with Highsmith being out, I think he's going to look damn good against the Indianapolis Colts for sure.
Herbig might steal his job.
I think he might too. And what I think they might do is like teams will go into the game to go, all right, what is going to do this guy one-on-one? We're still going to move the tight end and the running backs over to Watt.
The guy had a couple nice plays.
Then they have to make that in-game adjustment, and that's just going to free TJ Watt up on that side. So these teams are kind of, it's like having Bud Dupree back with TJ Watt. Who are you going to team up? Who are you going to double team?
And listen, we have mad respect for Nick Herbig, and we recognize what he could do. but around the league, he hasn't gained that respect yet. So I think
he's starting to get there. Yeah.
until you were able to gain that
Yeah.
respect in the NFL, teams
Yeah,
aren't going
but
to
that's what she's
make
saying though.
too
As he
many.
plays more. Yeah.
They're not going to make too many adjustments for him, I don't think. And that's a good thing. We'll take that. We'll take it
Yeah.
as long as we can, and
Yeah.
hopefully he'll continue to progress and develop his game.
Yeah.
And by the time he
But-
becomes a starter, when we're ready to get rid of
Yeah.
Highsmith, I mean, of course, we just gave him a lot of money, so it's going to be a little while. But that also gives Herbig some time
Yeah.
to catch up.
Yeah, I think in the short term they won't, but like she said, the more he plays, I think we're going to see more tight ends moving over, more running backs moving over, maybe the guards sliding over
Ooh.
too to help.
But Mike,
That will free up that middle
this
linebacker
could be a period
spot.
of time too, because
Yeah.
how we just gave Highsmith his contract
Wow.
a
But how
season
long
and a
is
half
Highsmith
ago.
going to be out? That's going to be the issue. And
And
I haven't seen that yet.
but again, he's not going to have that time to develop the momentum because this other guy is the starter. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
don't
but if-
generally game plan around a second string guy. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
It's going to take some time
It's
for him
going
to
to
gain
take time,
traction.
yeah. But what if he's out 5, 6
I know,
weeks?
but
Yeah.
we don't know that. We just know that he's
Yeah.
out this week, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that as time goes on, and we learn that information. Also, I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out
Yes.
today. We do appreciate each and every one of you. We really, really do. We certainly couldn't do it without you. We are very appreciative. I do want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting every day here on the Two Dumb Yinzers. Mike, Derpy, anything else? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I got nothing.
All right, guys. Derpy.
Don't watch the Bucks, watch the Steelers and the Penguins. Their future is screwed.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not. It's going to take me a while to get in Penguin mode. I'm right smack dab in the middle of football.
Yeah.
But once preseason's over and they get back into it, I'll start watching some hockey. But right now, guys, I got my mind dead set on football. It's all about the pigskin, all about the gridiron, and that's where we're at right now. So, anything else, fellas?
No. No.
No, I
I
think
guess
really.
Tomlin isn't he said a comment basically. He's not naming Justin as the starter, I guess.
Oh, that's good. That's good that he's not naming that way. It keeps Indianapolis guessing. But I think
Yeah.
ultimately,
Well, everyone knows who it is. He even
You're
kind
right.
of said that too. Like, there's no need to know Justin's
right.
going to practice as he is the starter.
There's no.
And I think it's
right.
like, you know, you
And I
got to
think,
protect.
boy, when
you
he
gotta protect
becomes
an
Mike,
ego too.
if he's not already a villain in Pittsburgh by Tomlin after his success, this would certainly turn him into a villain after pulling your 3-0 quarterback who's done nothing but improved every week.
Yeah.
I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to do that.
Yeah, and you got to protect Russ's ego too. He's managing a lot of egos there, so
Yeah,
hey, it's working. Keep it going.
absolutely. The only thing really going on tonight, guys, the Indiana Fever is until tomorrow. A couple other things. You do have the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are 7:00 tonight, preseason against the Sabres. Buffalo Sabres are in town tonight to play the Pens. Also, game 1 of 3 against the Milwaukee Brewers at PNC Park. Maybe get down there to the stadium over the next couple of days because these are the last 3 games at home before they head off to the Bronx to finish up the season against the Yankees. 6 games left. Besides for that, guys, ain't really much going on tonight. Monday Night Football is done. Football is done for a few days. But we will be back tomorrow, first thing, to talk about the Steelers going into next week's game against the Colts and a whole lot more. So, guys, is that everything for you?
I got nothing, man.
I got
That's
nothing.
it, man. Good show.
All right, guys. Awesome job as always. Thank you, everybody. For Derpy, for Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.